Hello, is that any better? Message me in the chat. You're meaning to tell me I've been chatting for 16 minutes with no sound? Drop us a message on the chat if you can hear me. Okay, so let's start again. So, God dear, I've just been using a different laptop or a different machine, and there's a kind of problem with the audio, and it's obviously flicked off. I was doing loads of stuff, but yeah, look, good evening, and yeah, welcome. I want to make it clear right from the start, and yeah, all right, it's 17 minutes on. Today isn't about fake outrage. Yeah, it's not about knee-jerk reactions. It's not about jumping on the bandwagon. Today, in this show, it's going to be about facts, reality, and some kind of perspective. Arsenal's journey over the past 5 years, not just a story of improvement, story of a full ground-up rebuild. And I think that's unparalleled in modern day, where we look at new managers coming in. They haven't had to kind of say rip up everything now and literally just go straight for it. They've literally had to go in and actually come in and rebuild right from scratch. All of you watching online that are saying Arteta's failed or 5 years and no league titles, stay tuned, because I think you're gonna hear something, and because the truth is far deeper, it's far more impressive, far more real than all the crap over social media that is being plastered around. And I've been lucky not to have really got caught into the whole bubble of social media last night after the game and this morning and through the day. Yeah, look, we had a really good battle against PSG, the best PSG team since money was coming into the club. Yeah, a proper team there, and obviously good luck in the final. Obviously regrets on the first leg. I think had we lined up in the first leg like we have done, yeah, in the second leg, then it would have been a lot closer. And yeah, I'm gutted. It's almost like what if, the famous what ifs. But I think, yeah, had we have had a Partey in that centre, and then you'd have had the whole kind of the chemistry of the whole team all kind of going together, and yeah, at home with the atmosphere that we've got, and everyone is seeing the way we're playing and the way we're moving around with the ball, then I think everything would have been a far more receptive. I think just overall, but that's a hearsay kind of thing. I think it'll be very close, and yeah, we move on. But yeah, that's all I want to really talk about yesterday. But let's rewind and let's go back to December 2019. Arteta joins just before Christmas, and Arsenal sitting in 11th place in the Premier League. I mean, the team's like Wolves, Leicester, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. They were all ahead of us. And then, worst of all, half of the senior players in that squad didn't really want to be there. Yeah, with players like Mustafi, Socrates, Kolasinac, all on massive wages. Ozil, all unwanted. And it didn't take Arteta long to work out that they weren't needed. The culture was rotten. There's no backbone, no identity. I mean, the squad just back then, and you look at it and you think, yeah, it's filled up with players that you'd have heart attacks just kind of watching them. I mean, the defenders, the nail biting 11. I'd call like so. Look, David Luiz, Socrates, Mustafi, Rob Holding, Chambers. And then you got Suarez. You've got Mari, who come in those latter two in January. They were the only Arteta signings in 2019. Look at Emi Martinez. You look at those kind of profiles of players, and you're looking at the players that Arteta was trying to kind of move on. Not right. Look at what Martinez has now become and his makeup. Look, I don't particularly like him whatsoever, and I think that's why he was sold on. Look at our midfield in that time: Torreira, Guendouzi, look, Ozil, Ceballos on loan, Willock, and Maitland-Niles. Obviously, Saka was being used at left back, so majority of the time. So wasn't a huge amount of quality there. Obviously, Granit Xhaka being stripped of the captaincy before Arteta joined as well. So there was obviously huge issues going on in the squad before Arteta even came. And don't forget, I said 11th. 11th, we were sitting around Christmas time. And the strikers, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Martinelli, Nelson, and Eddie Nketiah. I'll go back and look. This was his first game, and yeah, I look at it. I'm so pleased about what we see now, and I look at it and I just think it would. Admittedly, I would say, look, Xhaka again. I think he aged like wine. I think the longer he went on after that moment, his lowest probably moment of his Arsenal career, I think he improved. Guendouzi had a good kind of spell for about 6 months, and then literally went. Well, he was easily shunned out. There was the incident I think against Brighton, wasn't it, where he started like really trying to flex it, and it wasn't good to see on that side. Pepe, we all know about what happened with Pepe. Whoever obviously got him signed, he's now sacked. Yeah, someone wanted him at the club for some reason, and that was that's been done. He's gone. So yeah, we could have had Saha. I think at the time. So yeah, it's heads rolled on that deal in its own, and yeah, just wasn't good. And look at that price as well for what was spent. Yeah, rotten. The whole culture of the club rotten. And we'll go on then. The reset, clearing the deadwood. Clearing the deadwood was kind of like a term that was kind of used for the phase one of Arteta's little project, which again, people are kind of taking that very literal, and we're talking about phase one, phase two, or 5 phases. We're not classing a total refresh, a total from scratch rebuild, literally as phase one is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. It can't happen in this level. Look where we were. Look where we had to then go to get to then be able to challenge. And you'll see straight away that it can't be that. And people are swearing by it and literally holding on to that and saying, "Oh, he's on phase 5. He's got to go. He's got to go." And I look at it and look, it wasn't a tweak. It was never going to be a tweak. Yeah, there was at the start. There was never a quick, easy fix. Yeah, couldn't just add one big signing, expect miracles. Yeah, Arteta had to rip up the whole squad, and he did. Players left for free because no one wanted them. End of. Full stop. That's why we had players with minimal time left on the contracts. We even had to pay off some of the players. Look, reminder, Ozil, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates, Aubameyang, all paid off or left on freeze. And it wasn't because Arsenal was stupid. It's because the previous era left us saddled with players on crazy contracts who just didn't want to fight for that red and white shirt. And that's the sad thing about it. Yeah, there were a lot of, and it's well publicised through the years of players being a little bit too comfortable and not really showing. And look, this is the whole kind of way of how the club had been run or how it had become. And look, the first 2 seasons we terminated more contracts than any other Premier League club. I mean that's a stat to like literally just pin up and say, look, well, it's unheard of. It's not done. And this is why I say it's not just a quick fix. Not quick fix whatsoever. And as I say, you look at the players as well. Like, look, we let people go. Look, we signed Saliba. We let him go back on loan, which was obviously 100% the right thing to do. That next season, we literally brought in a few other players to help out. Yeah, obviously this was his first kind of year where he could kind of go in and say, right, okay, I need some players. And you looked at it right from day one, and he would have gone and said, right, okay, look, yeah, I need X, I need this one, I need this. Straight away, Thomas Partey, Gabriel, look, Pablo Mari, still Martin Odegaard, 2 million loan fee to get him in. And you look at it, look, the players obviously left they've gone. Yeah, look, we ripped up, and we've kind of upgraded a couple of positions. It isn't like we've now made ourselves stronger, because again, look, we've released X amount, and then we've only signed a couple of others. So yeah, look, this was part one, I would say, of phase one. Yeah, I don't actually class it as phase one. I mean, I'm looking at the 2021-22 season as being phase one. And I'll tell you why. And it's when you look at what we got, and then you look at we got rid of there. We've just promoted Smith Rowe from the youth ranks. We brought in Willian. Look, we're not really getting shot of all the deadwood that we've got. We're not there yet. Yeah, there's still a huge amount that we have to get rid of, and we went through into that 2001 2002 season, and this is where I say phase one started. Because yeah, look, to get rid of the deadwood, you need fresh stuff coming in. And when you look at it, you look at this, and it's like you've got rid of all those players. In comes all the players that we signed. Look, Ben White, Odegaard for around £30 million. Aaron Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Lokonga, Tavares. Yeah, admittedly, not all of them hit the heights or have hit the heights as yet. Obviously, Ramsdale already gone, but he done a job. Yeah, he had a purpose there, and we ended up getting some good stuff out of him. So the long-term project signings, yeah, young, coachable, high ceiling. Yeah, that is the start. 6 players that potentially could get us to that first phase, enabling us to get rid of players. At the end of it, look, Willian, David Luiz, Willock. Yeah, look, all of them gone. Yeah, we still then had Torreira, Guendouzi, Bellerin, Nelson, and Renarson as well, I think it was. They all went on loan. Yeah, offloading the players that aren't going to be part of that project. Yeah, the senior old guard players gone. And I think in January, all we did was, well, I think KSE flexed their muscles with Trusty. It turned out he wasn't so trusty, but we signed him, but then sold him a year later for about £4 million profit, I think it was, or roundabouts, or about £3 million profit. And then we signed Matt Turner again from America as a third choice keeper. In January, again, the clear up carried on. Yeah, obviously Aubameyang eventually did go. Mari went on loan. Chambers obviously went as well. Kolasinac went also, with Maitland-Niles, and Balogun went going on loan again. So again, the clear out of those non-core players, the ones that you're not going to be relying on. yeah, look, I mean, Aubameyang, yes, he was captain, but it was soon clear that his kind of issues were ingrained in the whole squad. Yeah, I look at it and one thing always hits me, and I look, I'm rambling in there at the minute, and I'm rambling at screens. Um, I want questions from you guys as well watching. Aubameyang, obviously, the biggest thing that really hit out at me was the fact that North London Derby Day, the day that we totally focus on, he turns up late and he doesn't play. And you look at it like that and you think that it's just absurd on that side. So I'm pleased, but yeah, he had to go. He had to go on that side, and it was an important part, and that's why I say it is phase one. Yeah, all those issues done, dusted, and now it is. Let's focus on getting more players in and around to strengthen what we've just bought. And I'm gonna look at the spending facts as well, not myths. And it's been said for so long. I'm going to stop after this for um, dealing with questions on this, but there is a fake narrative, yeah, a lazy line that keeps getting always thrown about around Arsenal, and like we're the only team to have done it or doing it. Arsenal spent £1 billion under Arteta. Absolutely not true. Arsenal spent approximately 547 million from January 2020 to the summer of 2024. Okay. Let that sink in a little. And I was a little bit, I was thinking to myself earlier on, and I thought, is that really a viable figure? Does that sound correct? Because obviously it's a massive difference compared to what's been bandied around. And I looked at it. I'll go on to Transfermarkt, and that's a good all-round barometer on fees and values. And I'd done a few little calculations and worked out and went through a few bits. And when you looked at it, the total spend over these five and a bit seasons, 672 million. That's spend. We've received 193 million. So a net spend of 479 and a half. So covers over 9 transfer windows. And considering there's been a complete rebuild that was actually needed, I think it's very efficient just in there. And you look at it like that and you think, brilliant. I think just from the money that's come in from some players, from actually releasing fees from wages as well for us to be able to spend, I thought it was really good. But that was just to kind of reset the myth on that side. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to expand on that as well. I think I'm going to do a bit more on that with other clubs, and it'll be interesting to see what they all come out with the same way. But yeah, that's me finished for a second. I'm going to just answer a couple of messages. Let's have a quick look. Just work out what I miss. Obviously, Mark's obviously in the chat, watching along. Thank you for telling me I was a mute. Retroholic, hi. Spit facts. Yeah, we need to hear it. Yeah, sometimes we do. Yeah, bar the defence in 2019, which is far better now. I don't think the current attacking options are better. Look, I think we know we are missing certain things, but I certainly like to say that I think it's only the striking side of things that would be the only difference. If we chucked in a striker right now into what we've got, a retro, I think you'd almost be kind of saying the other side now. If we had, say, an Isak, or we had Gokeres or whoever alongside, say, a Martinelli and a Trossard or a Saka, does that mean if we have a striker that there's going to be more freedom for those wider players? We don't know. It's an unknown at this precise minute. I don't know how Arteta is going to set up with an actual full-on striker. I know we've seen Jesus play, but again, he was more of that pressing player and then kind of still dropping deeper to kind of help out in midfield, and then everyone else runs off. So again, this is what we don't really know. So yeah, it's a good one, retro. But as I said, I think it just depends on where you look at it, and what it is. But look, if I was putting in a prime Aubameyang or a Lacazette, then I think we probably would be better. I think you said that on the next one. Yeah, the 2019 team scares me as well. I had shivers, I had shakes just reading the names. So yeah, imagine what it was like being in a stadium. Absolute madness. Yeah, if we had the Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Xhaka in the current squad, would be better. I think 100%. I thought we missed a little bit when Xhaka moved on, and this is why I said Xhaka almost is like a fine wine. He started improving and started playing, and he obviously had his best season, I think, as his last season. Had we had him in midfield as well, I think we'd have been a different level, I think, on that side. And then an Aubameyang who knows where the goal is and turns up, with a Lacazette on the bench to come on and be counted on. Yeah, I'd have had those. I'm not talking about having them at their current ages. If I had a prime Aubameyang now, then 100%. That's a funny point. Look at it now. Rice, Saka, Saliba worth more than 100 million. Yeah. I'd say even looking at the whole kind of value, the value of the squad, and if you're contemplating that we're not in a better position than what we started off at as a club, then I think they need to stop supporting the team. Well, sorry, as I'm saying supporting, because I don't think that is supporting the team. If no one can see the good things at this time, imagine what it's like when it was really rough. Yeah, not a clue, not even close to understanding what it would have been like or what it was like down the line. Yeah, look, it's crazy. It is crazy just looking at it. Yeah, I get that by Aubameyang in his prime was something else, scoring 50 goals in 2 years, as much as his new bumper contract destroyed him. Yeah, look, it is what it is. And he was always a player. He was always, and I'm not talking a football player. He was a player. He loves his cars. He loves his nights out, and yeah, it's just too much, unfortunately. And look, I think his personality as well. Probably there was a clash there, and he probably is a little bit. He probably liked it a bit too much, and yeah, he's a bit more of a like light-hearted as well, a bit more jokey. But Arteta showed, certainly in the Prime documentary, that he doesn't want that. I want hungry players. I want ones that will actually want to give a shit. Yeah, I mean, as a key member of the squad, the captain, senior player, if you're seen to do that, then yeah, what example are you setting everyone else? Has to be done. Has to be done. No, I think retro. I think that's a good one. And say, look, yeah, you do want the right behaviour, but look, I certainly don't think that was his first, and I think there were plenty of other kind of instances where he's gone a little bit past. And yeah, look, there was the issue with regards to travelling back to France to see his mum who was sick, but without authority. So yeah, I think it was a little bit different on that side. But yeah, look, it's how receptive you are as well. And I mean, yeah, you could be late. How do you react? How do you deal with that? How does that player deal with it? Does he deal with it the right way? Does he accept? Yeah, sorry, yeah, it's not going to happen again, or are you not really getting a response? And it's kind of almost like, well, you're just taking the mick. You know, you do it in your workplace if you've got a colleague that does it or whatever. Yeah, you can see who kind of has done it as a one-off, or is a problem. So yeah, it's definitely more of a big thing for him. Yes, Mark. Yeah, look, this is another discussion. I think, yeah, last season, if I had the answer for that, look, everyone would be asking me. I mean, it just, did he think that he was going to get by just, yeah, by scraping through what we've got? And this is what I say about, we're so close, but do we need to change it? Obviously, we have to add. We had to at some point stick, because look at the transfer windows, look at the expenditure over those two those 2 seasons, you consider we'd have spent around about 300 million on those 2 seasons. The 2021-22 season, around 142 million. The 22-23 season, 22-23 season, around 160 million there on there. So around about 300 million that we spent, and considering a time as well where we obviously were being a little bit wary with regards to financial fair play and stuff along that, as well as obviously trying to get back in to the big time, back into the Champions League and actually, staying there. So I think there was more. Let's stick with what we got and see what we do. But look, I'd love to say. Would you look at this season as overachieving when you add context of the injuries, PGML decisions? I mean, look at the levels of injuries, and you look at other teams that have had we've had the most injuries. I think I saw a stat earlier on. We've had 27 injuries. I think the next most injuries for a club was either 22 or 23, and they were down towards the bottom half of the table. So so I would say, I wouldn't say overachieving. I would say they have handled it immensely. I think they've done really well on that side, and I would class our Champions League campaign more as overachieving, because it was something that I never had any hope or real feeling to say that we could go and actually win this, until we got into the position where we've got a chance here. But you have to win your bread and butter. Win the Premier League. If you win the Premier League, win it 2 times, then you're ready. You're at that caliber now, and you should have your squad available to then go and actually win that competition. But as I say, it is what it is. Man U Spurs final. Yeah, sad thing, but hopefully Man United win. Can you still hear me out there? Is everything all good? Okay. So just wanted to go back. Look at that squad just now compared to Socrates, Mustafi, Kolasinac, and El Neni starting. El Neni, the only one out of that group that has any staying power with fans, because some of his performances whilst he was here were really good. He's obviously only just recently left, so he done well today. Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, players with world-class potential across the pitch. Look, we're now fighting PSG. We're now fighting Real Madrid. We're not mid-table cannon fodder anymore. 11th place we were 2019. Team has made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League, competing with teams that have been spending billions for years. Look at Chelsea. Yeah. But look, I've rambled enough. Look, if your loyalty to Arsenal, to our club, depends on instant trophies. It probably isn't the club for you. I look at it. Yeah, I don't think the Kroenkes are going anywhere soon. I don't think anything's going to happen on that side. But on the flip side, I don't think you can start rounding up on the easy target as well, because again, that isn't a guaranteed winner either. Yeah, we could all be holding the pitchforks up for Arteta out or anything else, and we get a new guy in. That new guy doesn't win anything. What happens then? Yeah, we've seen it with other teams. Seen it with, say, like your Brighton or you even West Ham and whatever. You look at it. Oh, we need a new manager, and then that new manager comes in, and it's no better. Yeah, it is what it is. But if you believe in projects, building something real, team that's gone from around 15, 16 players at the end of that season where we lost by we're losing to Newcastle and Tottenham, wasn't it? And we had about 15, 16 first team players after injuries and obviously the clear out. Yeah, 15, 16 players to then challenging at the highest level, and Arsenal back to where it belongs. You either trust the journey, our journey, or you're just another fake fan jumping in and going in for clout online and loving the little clicks. Yeah, I don't want to be a sheep. I'm not a sheep. I support my team through thick and thin, the good times and bad times. I won't turn on my players until they leave the club. And even then, I'll still give them a clap when they return. Yeah, Arsenal are rising. We're not finished. Trust that cannon and that badge. Trust the project that we are watching and witnessing in front of ourselves. Trust the team. This is Arsenal. Guess what? We are just getting started. So, yeah, I think overall we are going to be pushing on. Yeah, and I think come the start of next season, incidentally, the 2022-23 season and the 23-24 season, I have earmarked those down as phase 2. Yeah. And I've got a blog on his plan, so feel free to have a quick scoot through that on the website. The phases, it's too late now to focus on that now. But this is why I say about these phases can't be in just single seasons. There's going to be time. There's players moving out. There's players coming in. And each time the floor is being raised and our ceiling has got higher. Those players that are coming in to start with in phase 1 and at the start of phase 2 to see us through to a certain area are now looking to be moved as we then push for better players with bigger, higher floors and higher ceilings. So I look at this year as probably the start of phase 3. That's in reality. I'd love to have the the blog up at the minute to kind of just go in and use the terminology they heard. All I remember is the deadwood on phase one. I can't remember the others for a minute, but phase three, I think, will be this year and next year. Obviously, we've been hamstrung with the injuries and certain decisions, etc., which we all know about. And that's why I say phase three will be an interesting one. And I think the summer will be the telling moment. And that's when we then look at whether or not the club has got some proper ambition. Yeah. And this is what they've got to do now. Have they got the ambition? Have they got the ambition to really push us through to get to this next level and back it up as well? Because, as I say, they need it now. Yeah, need more than anything now, and the squad needs it. And if we don't do it, or we absolutely drag our heels over everything, I mean, every deal has to be done early, as early as they can. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at these players, and it'll be Groundhog Day. Look at Saliba. We've been there. We've seen it. Players questioning the club's ambition. I can feel it from the manager, but all the players can also feel it as well. But when the club are not also showing it, those players are going to be a little bit unsure. And this is where you then have the Sharks circling around. You'll have your Madrids. Look, all the teams that have always done it, and we don't want we don't want that happening. And this is where we've got to nip it in the bud, and we've got to show our ambition and make sure the good work that we've put in to get us back to where we are, challenging. Yeah, we haven't won it. It's bloody hard to actually go and win it. And the last 2 years before this year showed exactly how hard it is to win it, even when you're on 100% beast mode, which we were, and just fell short, and such small margins. So, yeah, Mark said, a couple of pieces this summer. Next year, the title will be ours. Look, as always, everyone's going to get players in. We've just got to get the right players in to suit us. And if we are lucky, we'll stay away from injuries and, job done. And then hopefully we'll be having something to cheer about. And also shutting up quite a few people online, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing it on the terraces. I'm sick of it online. I don't hear too much like I do online on the terraces, but a lot of it it's just a bit much. Just a bit much. Back your team and actually focus on them, because 100% the negative crap that's come off and rubbed off on some of the players probably has done us a disservice. Yeah. Can't hound and harass the captain. Yeah. It's absolute. It's scum. It's scum behaviour. Focus on your team. Support your team. Support your players. Give them the best. Yeah. You're quick to jump on a negative or a poor performance, sub-optimum performance from your players. You can't be optimum supporting your team. It's hypocritical, isn't it? Yeah. Bad performance goes one way to the players, but just because of what they get paid a handsome amount of money, that gives you the right. But then you can act like a twat. Yeah, you can act up and not be that fan that you need to be. Yeah, your number one job: get behind the team, create positive energy. That's the problem. Get rid of the cancer amongst the club. Yeah, there is a big portion of fans online that, I don't know. They're in it just for clicks, for reactions, nonsense. And yeah, I'm done. I'm done with that part of things. And I just want to hear from like-minded Arsenal fans. Go to the games, want to talk about football, interested in airing their opinions, and yeah, being involved. This is what this channel's all about. So, as I say, if anyone does want to come on and get involved, feel free. Drop us a DM on X or on YouTube. Drop us a message, and we'll obviously be able to get in contact and get you on one of the shows. But yeah, it's been brilliant tonight. It's been a long time coming, but thank you to everyone in the chat, and we'll go from there.